You don't become powerful by being the loudest person in the room. You become powerful when you stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You become powerful the moment you realize your silence speaks more than your words ever could. You're not here to convince anyone of your worth. You're here to remember it. You've spent enough time shrinking yourself to make others feel comfortable, enough time trying to hold together relationships where you were the only one doing the emotional heavy lifting. The truth is, if you have to try that hard to keep someone interested, they're not your person. You are not meant to chase, you are meant to attract. But attraction doesn't come from effort. It comes from alignment. It comes from confidence. It comes from knowing that if something or someone is meant for you, it won't require self-abandonment to keep. That means letting go of anything that requires you to constantly prove your value. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your boundaries. They are not walls to keep people out. They are doors to keep you in, and the right person will not only respect them, they will admire you for having them. If someone walks away when you stop overgiving, they were only staying because of what they were getting, not who you were. Let that sink in. When you stop chasing, you give the universe permission to do the heavy lifting. You step into a place of power, not passivity, of purpose, not pleading. You start radiating a different energy, one that says, I'm not afraid to be alone because I love the person I'm alone with, and that kind of energy is magnetic. You see, you don't attract what you want. You attract what you believe you deserve. And if you believe love is something you earn through sacrifice, silence, or suffering, that's exactly the pattern you'll keep repeating. But when you start to believe that love should feel safe, clear, and consistent, everything changes. This is where most people get stuck. They confuse intensity with intimacy. They think a relationship full of drama, confusion, or hot and cold behavior must be passionate. But real love is not chaotic. It's not confusing. It doesn't make you question your worth. The right person brings peace, not pressure. And when someone wants you in their life, they make it obvious. You deserve clarity. You deserve consistency. You deserve someone who doesn't make you guess. If you're constantly wondering where you stand, you're not standing in a relationship. You're standing in a situation. And situationships are where self-worth goes to die. So stop giving exclusive access to people who treat you like an option. Stop showing up for people who wouldn't even notice if you stopped texting first. You're not needy for wanting connection. You're not dramatic for wanting clarity. You're not asking for too much. You're just asking the wrong person. If you're tired of feeling like you're too much, ask yourself this: are you actually too much, or are you just in a space that's too small for you? Hi, Val, you doesn't mean you're cold. It means you're clear. It means you know the difference between attention and intention, between attraction and alignment. You're no longer moved by words that don't match actions. You're no longer available for half-effort energy. That's not bitterness, that's emotional maturity. You don't chase, you choose. You don't beg, you embody. You don't settle, you align. When you embody the energy of a woman who trusts herself, you stop trying to earn love and start becoming the kind of person who inspires it. There's a version of you that doesn't beg, doesn't explain, doesn't overextend. She exists. She's waiting for you to stop performing and start being. Because when you stop performing, you start attracting people who are drawn to your truth, not your performance. And that changes everything. It changes how you show up in conversations. You stop trying to manage their perception of you and instead speak from your center. It changes how you respond to mixed signals. You don't need to decode anything. If it's unclear, it's a no. You don't need someone who might choose you. You need someone who already knows. Let's talk about emotional confidence. Emotional confidence is not about pretending nothing bothers you. It's about knowing that even if something does, you can handle it. It's about trusting yourself to walk away from things that no longer serve you, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because the hardest walk is often the one away from something that looks good but feels wrong. You're allowed to outgrow people. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to become someone who no longer fits into the mold others created for you. Growth is uncomfortable because it requires you to stretch beyond your old limits. But it's always worth it. You weren't born to chase love. You were born to embody it, to reflect it, to live it. You're the source, not the seeker. The moment you realize that you don't need someone to choose you in order to feel valuable, you become unstoppable. You stop needing validation and start standing in your own knowing. That's when the right people start showing up, not because you chased them, but because your energy became a lighthouse, not a searchlight. Lighthouses don't run around looking for ships. They stand tall and shine. That's you now. It doesn't matter if they didn't see your worth. What matters is that you finally do. You finally stopped tying your value to their vision. You finally realized that their inability to love you had nothing to do with your lovability. Their absence didn't diminish you. It revealed them, and now you're free, free to love without losing yourself, free to give without overextending, free to walk away without guilt, free to be soft and strong at the same time. That's real power. You get to rewrite your story. You get to decide that from now on, love feels safe. That clarity is your new normal. That peace is your new standard. That if someone causes chaos in your life, they no longer get access to you. You are not for everyone. And that's your superpower. Stop trying to convince people to see your light. Some people are committed to staying in the dark. That's not your responsibility. Your only job is to keep shining. It's not your job to make someone love you. Your job is to love yourself so fiercely that anyone who tries to enter your life has to meet you at that level, or not at all. Because when you know your worth, you don't accept confusion as chemistry. You don't confuse red flags for passion. You don't let someone's inconsistency become your addiction. You pause, you reflect. You ask yourself, does this align with who I'm becoming? And if it doesn't, you let go, because letting go is not a loss. It's a declaration that says, I am no longer available for anything that costs me my peace, my clarity, or my self-respect. You're not here to beg. You're here to bloom. You're not here to convince. You're here to embody. You're not here to shrink. You're here to shine. This is your reminder that you don't have to become anyone else to be loved. You just have to become more of yourself, the real you, the one underneath the people, pleasing, the overthinking, the pretending. That woman, she's magnetic, she's powerful, she's already enough, and when you start showing up as her, the world adjusts. When you stop chasing love and start embodying it, you unlock a completely different version of yourself. One who doesn't flinch at silence, one who doesn't panic when they don't text back, one who doesn't spiral when someone pulls away. Because now you know what pulls away wasn't for you. What stays without effort is what's aligned. Too many women confuse presence with proof. Just because someone is around doesn't mean they're showing up for you. Just because they check in doesn't mean they're invested. You must stop confusing crumbs with commitment. If they're giving you half energy and expecting full access, the only reason they're still there is because you haven't closed the door. Stop entertaining potential. Start requiring proof. Potential says he could be amazing one day. Proof says he already is. And if someone tells you they're not ready, believe them. That's not your cue to wait. That's your sign to walk. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow, by how long you stay silent when your needs aren't met, by how often you abandon yourself just to keep someone else comfortable. You don't just raise your standards by saying, I want more. You raise them by walking away when someone gives you less. And yes, walking away is scary, but you must understand, every time you settle for less than you deserve, you delay what you actually want. The longer you tolerate almost, the longer you block aligned, the more you compromise your boundaries, the more you disconnect from yourself. What you're looking for is not found in the arms of someone who can't make up their mind. What you're looking for is found in your own mirror when you realize that your worth was never up for debate. The truth is, the moment you stop chasing the bare minimum, you create space for extraordinary. But extraordinary can only meet you at the level of yourself. worth. So ask yourself honestly, what do you believe you deserve? Because your relationships are reflecting that answer in real time. You don't need another text that leads nowhere. You need depth, direction, devotion. You don't need someone who just shows up when it's convenient. You need someone who chooses you with clarity, who meets your energy, who makes you feel safe, not confused. Who listens not to reply, but to understand. That's the new standard. And if no one has told you lately, let me be the one to say it. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to want consistent effort, not occasional apologies. You are allowed to want calls instead of breadcrumb texts. You are allowed to want someone who sees your value immediately, not someone you have to earn. Hi, Val. You energy is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't beg for attention. It simply exists, and its presence is felt. You walk into a room and shift the atmosphere, not because of what you're wearing, but because of the way you carry yourself, the way you look people in the eye. The way you speak without apologizing for your truth. You don't need louder words. You need stronger boundaries. You don't need to be more available. You need to be more selective, because not everyone deserves front row access to your life, especially the ones who couldn't even clap for you in private. You see, the more you value yourself, the quieter you become. You stop explaining what you know is true. You stop proving what they refuse to see. You simply remove access. And that silence is louder than anything you could have said. You're not cold, you're clear, you're not bitter, you're better. Better because you now know that your peace is priceless. Better because you finally stopped overfunctioning in hopes of being chosen. You stopped trying to earn love that should have been given freely. And that shift, that's the beginning of everything. The beginning of honoring your feelings instead of suppressing them. The beginning of choosing partners who choose you back. The beginning of walking away from almosts, of letting go of stories that don't serve the woman you're becoming, the beginning of a chapter where you're not chasing closure, you're creating it. Closure doesn't always come with answers. Sometimes it's just a decision to stop checking their page, a decision to stop justifying red flags, a decision to stop replaying conversations that should have ended months ago. It's the moment you say, I choose me now. That choice may be quiet, but it's revolutionary, because for the first time, you're not abandoning yourself for love. You're not negotiating your standards just to be chosen. You're not pretending to be cool with inconsistency just to keep the peace. You are the peace now. You're stepping into a version of yourself who is no longer addicted to potential. No longer swayed by empty promises, no longer impressed by minimal effort. You're not dating for entertainment, you're dating with intention, and anyone who cannot meet you there will simply fall away. Let them fall. You don't have to hold the door open for people who were never meant to stay. You don't have to chase someone who ghosted the moment you stopped performing. That's not rejection, that's redirection. It's the universe saying, I've got better for you. But you have to let go of what's blocking it, and you're ready now, ready to embody the woman who doesn't second guess her worth, ready to stop making excuses for why someone can't love you properly, ready to stop trying to prove you're worthy of someone's time. Because deep down you know you are not here to be tolerated, you are here to be deeply seen, heard, and valued. You are not too much. You are just too real for people who prefer small talk over soul connection, who prefer comfort over growth, who prefer control over vulnerability. That's not your problem to fix. You're not here to chase validation. You're here to become validation. You're not here to earn love. You're here to share it with someone who is ready to receive it, someone who makes you feel safe in your softness, someone who respects your strength without needing to diminish it. You deserve a love that's deep, not dramatic. You deserve a connection that brings peace, not pressure. You deserve someone who doesn't just say the right things, but who shows up with aligned action. And until that person arrives, you hold the standard. You don't settle. You don't water yourself down to fit into someone else's comfort zone. You stay rooted in your truth, because the woman who stays rooted will always attract what's meant for her. so keep becoming her. The one who knows her silence is powerful, who knows her time is valuable, who knows her love is a privilege, not a guarantee. The one who knows she can be soft and still say no, who knows she can be giving and still have boundaries, who knows that walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. This is the era of your elevation, the chapter where you reclaim your time, your energy, and your voice, the chapter where you stop asking, "Why didn't they choose me?" and start asking, "Why did I keep choosing them?" Let that awareness guide you, let that question liberate you, because once you start loving yourself the way you wanted them to, you'll never go back. This is where it all changes, where you stop settling for half-hearted connection, where you stop losing sleep over inconsistent energy, where you start choosing people who choose you without hesitation, who show up for you without being begged, who respect your boundaries without testing them. You are the standard now, and anyone who wants to be in your life will have to rise to meet it, not because you're better, but because you finally remember your worth, and when a woman remembers who she is, she becomes magnetic. Not because of how she looks, but because of how she glows. Not because of what she says, but because of how she moves. Not because of who wants her, but because she wants herself fully, fiercely, unapologetically. And that kind of woman, she doesn't chase, she attracts, she aligns, she becomes, she is the power, and from this moment forward, so are you.